Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and a doctoral student of psychology. And today we're going to talk about why avoidance and how they fall harder when you set boundaries and how to set that. This doesn't mean give ultimatums or be mean. It means be more clear and take space when it's necessary for you, even for a couple of hours. And if you need specific things about your relationship, you can book a call with me or email me. Any of you guys have already done so, you know that I give you very specific instructions of what I feel can benefit your relationship further. And sometimes what that means is setting boundaries. And it's pretty common. I'm noticing that. And the boundaries are not what some people might think boundaries are. It's not that you're going to set an ultimatum or you're going to leave or you have to go out of town for 20 days until they apologize. No, not necessarily. There are ways to set these micro boundaries within the relationship so that they can actually understand what's beneficial for the relationship. Not always pushing you around to get their needs, but also to avoid their triggers. They need to also get comfortable with their triggers as well. They need to start showing improvement as well, and you can't do that for them. I make a lot of videos on how to make it easier for them to show up, but you can never do that for them. And what you can do for yourself is sometimes set these boundaries. So we're going to talk about that today. You want to be clear on what you need. This is even before you tell them. Before you say anything, you want to figure out where your limits are. For example, what behaviors make you feel uncomfortable or drained? What do you need more of? Do you need space, reassurance, honesty, alone time? What are you no longer willing to tolerate? Understanding those things is really important before you even start communicating. If you're vague with yourself, you're going to be vague with them, and that can create confusion, and then you can feel like they don't care about you because they actually don't know what you want. And I don't want that to happen to you because I'd rather your relationship succeed. And so this one's really important. The next one is you want to communicate directly, not aggressively, with using facts. Using facts is one of the most surefire ways to get an avoidant to really understand what you're talking about. You want to use frequency and numbers to actually help these folks in the long run, because it's going to be triggering at first, but in the long run, it's going to very much help. These boundaries work best if they're calm and specific, not emotionally explosive, okay? So instead of saying, you never make time to see me, that could be accurate. Maybe not never, but it's an exaggeration of you're not making time to see me, which is probably true. However, that's not going to land as easily as this. I wanted to share this with you because I feel like it's important for our communication. You tend to cancel on me about 50% of the time. And recently, I have not seen you in 2 weeks. I feel frustrated and I want us to get on the same page about this. I'm not saying this because I'm tracking you. I wanted to make sure that my numbers are correct before I brought this to you. What can we do to see each other more? I'm open to hearing your side. You were very clear. You mentioned the 50%, you mentioned what you feel like the goal is, and you also mentioned I'm open to hearing your side. This shows that you're not coming at them in a way where you need to change, I'm perfect. You're saying, I have this need, there's a barrier we have, how can we get on the same page? It's not you versus me, it's us versus whatever this issue is, and I'm seeing this as 50% of the time, so I think this is something we need to get on together as a couple. That's what it reads like for avoidance typically, okay? The next one is you do want to allow the other person to react. They're not going to react the best way right away, especially if you haven't set boundaries and you've been tiptoeing around them the entire relationship. They're not going to react the best. Not everyone will immediately love your boundaries. They might feel confused. They might be pushback. They might take it personally. That doesn't mean you're wrong. It just means the dynamic is shifting a little bit. And what we see is healthy people, and we want them to be healthy as well. They will adjust over time. So you just got to hold your ground. But you also have to understand that you don't want to cave fully. You can still give them time, appreciate what they're feeling, validate what they're feeling. Hey, I hear what you're saying. I understand that. That does make sense. It may have come across harsh. That's not what I meant. I just wanted you to understand how I feel. You can still soften those things a little bit because that's fine. However, you don't want to remove the boundary you set, okay? The next one is don't expect them to just know what you want. Maybe you are sick and you're saying it's a no-brainer that they should bring me soup. It's not to them, I promise you. Because a lot of times, if you bring them soup when they're sick, it's just too embarrassing for them to be seen as weak. And so they might actually feel like you're overstepping. So they wouldn't like that. What they think is better is if they give you space while you're sick, because that's what they want, right? A lot of times when they're sick or busy, they actually take a lot of space from relationships. And then you guys are confused, but to them, they think that's normal. So they might give you space when actually you don't need space. You need care, you need appreciation, you need some sort of effort being physically shown. And the next one is giving too much time. And a lot of you guys do this. And if you guys have booked a call with me, I've told you this, you know that some of you guys do this. Giving too much time before having the first conversation about something that bothers you. This is tricky, but it's important to realize. The reason is not because you're going to pick up every little thing they do, but when something is happening frequently, sometimes the best thing to do is to say it. Let's say something's happened like 3 times. They kind of make a joke at your expense. And at first you're like, okay, that's a little weird. Maybe the second time you're like, okay, this is getting a little too far. Let me say something. So you're like, I noticed that you make a joke at my expense, right? Let's say you say that. But if you say it at random, they might deny it. They might say, what are you talking about? I don't do that. But if you say it right after they say that, you can say, look, I don't like when people make a joke at my expense. I feel like you've been doing that. Yesterday you did A, B, and C, and today you just made that joke. To me, it's not funny. I don't want you to do that. Please don't make a joke at my expense. I know some people do it. They don't mean to, but I don't like it. So please keep that in mind. If you say something like that, it will help them to realize they can't get away with certain things, but also they can't deny it either. Sometimes what you guys do, I'm not trying to pick on you, but I'm being honest with you, you guys will wait until it bottles up. And then, I don't know, 3 months later, you might crash out and be like, you always make a joke at my expense. And yeah, there's some validity to it. It's exaggerated, of course, but yeah, they're making a joke at your expense. But they might be like, what are you talking about? Or they might say, I didn't know that bothered you. You never said anything, which is true. And then your reaction is so enormous in comparison to what they have perceived because you didn't say anything, right? You've been silent and then it just explodes. They might feel a type of way because of that, and they'll be less likely to hear what you're saying. But if you say it soon after you start noticing the behavior, they're going to be more aware of it. Even if they don't change anything, that's not your responsibility. It's your responsibility to speak your truth, okay? The next one is you use flexible language in regards to compromise. It shows willingness to meet in the middle. Boundaries is not I'm here and I'm not moving. That's not always what boundaries are. This is what I'm okay with. This is what I'm uncomfortable with. Where can we meet in the middle so that I can get some needs met? You can get some needs met. Boundaries is I don't like being treated a certain way, but there's not always a specific way how to get there. Right? That's one version of boundaries. What are your thoughts is a great way to say it. I don't like when you make a joke at my expense. I don't appreciate that. You're not really giving instructions at that point, but you're saying, I don't really like when I'm mistreated. And they might say, I do like joking and I don't mean it like that. What's another way that I can make a joke without you feeling this way? Because I do like joking and I feel like, I can be lighthearted and silly about it. You can say, okay, you can make jokes, but my perspective is I don't want to be the one that's being made fun of. You don't make fun of yourself. Why are you always making fun of me? What are your thoughts about that? That gives them that opening. What are your thoughts about that? It helps them realize, you know what, you're right. I could just make jokes about other things that can meet in the middle, right? The next one is ask what you need to improve on. This is also to build health, but it also helps them respect you, and it sets all the boundaries in the relationship as well. Both of you guys are still people within the relationship. What do you need to work on? Because you are also a person that changes. You model good behaviors and you want to be healthy. What do you need to work on? They will answer that, okay? And the next one is revisit topics again when time has passed and rapport is built. If they said, no, I don't want to do that. What are you talking about? I'm independent. I don't do relationships in the first 6 months, but like 2 years later, you're still in a relationship. Have a conversation. No, you don't have to say, what are we? But you can say, we've been together for a while. I wonder if we could do A, B, and C together. Can we go on a trip? They might be more receptive than the 6 months, okay? So let's go ahead and summarize and we'll wrap it up. Be clear on what you need. You want to then communicate what you need directly and usually with a fact. You want to allow the person to react. You don't want to expect them to know what you want. You don't want to give too much time before calling a behavior out. You want to be flexible with your language regarding compromise. You want to ask what you need to improve on, and you want to revisit topics again after rapport has been built, okay? I hope this video is helpful to somebody. Please like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.